I'm not sure about this, but I think I read something about how you recorded it. That it was in the room with an animal. Am I right in saying that?
Well, so because I wrote it really randomly at the end of the album, like, so the album process was me on guitar and singing at the same time, and then I rehearsed the 3 backup vocalists. So there's Laura Christopher Rides, Jace Excel, and Alejandro Abapo, who also goes under the name Silent J. And they've been singing with Hiatus for years in a live context, but we've never recorded together. And so for this album, I wanted them to feel involved, and so we rehearsed a lot and then recorded them live, and then I added additional vocals and guitar later. But because Haiku was written so late in the process, we didn't have time to like rehearse and then record, and I was running out of time and budget and la la la. So I just, it was initially just going to be on the Japanese release. Okay. And then I just kind of loved it and put it on the album. But because I didn't have them as a color in the recording, I wanted to do something a bit different and try to make like a dingo choir. There's like lots of howling in it. Yeah, and I actually went to a wolf sanctuary when I was on tour in New York, and there's this like old alpine wolf called Akka, and I got to play this like song for this wolf, which is crazy because when you get there, you have to howl so that you let them know that you're coming, because it's not like a tourist thing. Sure. It's like there's like a lot of land with wolves that you'll never even see, but then there's like 4 ambassador wolves that were like bred in captivity, so they're a little bit more, they're still behind a fence, but they're like sooky and like rub their faces against the fence and stuff. So it was really, because I had this howling in it, I was like really wanted to show it to these wolves. Okay. It was really cool. And also now when I play it live, I just like, it's just kind of turned into a wolf song.
You imagine wolves everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I read that somewhere, and I thought that was excellent. I didn't know if it was true.
Well, there is, and Charlie, my parrot, was in most of the recording sessions, so he was always there. But it wasn't, he's on Choose Your Weapon as like, you can actually hear him in Choose Your Weapon, but in this album he was quiet.
Finally then, there's also a couple of covers on here. Jimi Hendrix, Dave Bowie, Radiohead. I want to start with Jimi Hendrix. What makes him so special to you?
He's just beautiful. I just think there is this like divine softness about him, and quite often like the reason I wanted to cover it is because quite often he's like stereotyped as like a male rock god that like shreds on guitar, and like to me he was so much more than that, like there was this like celestial harmonic like writing ability, and like he was actually really soulful, like he played guitar with the Isley Brothers, right, and like toured with like Little Richard, and is more from like a R&B background, which is like, essentially where rock comes from, is like blues and jazz, and it's the extension of that. But I just wanted to also, like, as a woman that plays electric guitar, there's this like real ego competitive side to like electric guitar. It's like who can shred the fastest, and like for me it's just like, I don't know, his writing is more what I adore about it, and the fact that it's like Electric Ladyland as well, and I'm like a lady that plays electric guitar, and it's like softer, and again it's like a juxtaposition of like really like soulfully covering like a rock god.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same with Black Star by Bowie. But is it daunting, kind of dissecting those songs and then covering
hoping
them?
people don't hate them? Not really. It's just it's like just natural.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. It just is what it is, and it's you know, I'm never really trying to impress anybody.
Right.
You know, it's not like I'm sure there's a lot better covers. It's just like my way of connecting to it and sharing that with people. And yeah, like when I do covers, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna do this with it, or I'm gonna try and do this with it, or it's just like, how do you play this? This is what it sounds like when it comes from me, you know? Especially because I don't have any like theory, like formal training. So
Right.
the way that I really educated myself was listening to, you know, before I was writing, was like listening to Stevie Wonder or Billie Holiday or, you know, flamenco records, where it's like, how are they doing that? You know, like in the start of Mobius, there's a guitar technique where I'm playing the strings like this, which is totally just a bit like whatever, but it was like, I learned by listening and trying to dissect elements of songs that I really love. So, you know, this is how I really learned music. And so when I come to covering something, it's just kind of the same way. I'm like, oh, how does that work?
Finally, then, what have you found about music? Then this may be way too grandiose a question, but what have you found about music that you gravitate towards, that you kind of look for? And because earlier you kind of mentioned how creativity and music kind of helped you along the way.
What am I attracted
yeah,
to?
well, what is there something you're looking in? It's not the right phrasing, but is there something you're looking for in music?
Wonder, you know. I think an imagination, like when we're kids, you know, it's so, I love hanging out with kids because you could be like, check this out, and they'll be like, whoa. Or like, you see like a drawing, you're like, what's that a drawing of? And it just looks like some scribbles to you, be like, it's an elephant that's got like 3 fire eyes, and like, you know, and you're just like, where is your brain? You know, it's just, and slowly, surely, as we get older, the lines are, you know, like the tooth fairy, for example. When you're little, you're like, the tooth fairy is a real, you know, archetype in your life. And then eventually, like, you know, it's like, oh, it's fake, and you just la la la. And I think our sense of intuition and wonder, genuine wonder in the world, is slowly filtered out as you get older, and society kind of crushes, it oppresses imagination in a lot of ways. You know, there's a lot of elements of life that celebrates beauty, but, you know, there are forces at work that are, you know, strive to crush imagination, basically. So the thing that I adore about that I love in new music is when you hear something and it feels like magic, or it's unexpected, and it can create this like, yeah, this sense of natural intuitive curiosity, and it takes you somewhere visual, you know, like Bjork's latest release, The Gate. It's like, she's been releasing music for ages, but like there is this, anything that sounds like a, you know, fantasy film, or something that creates this element of like something new that you haven't heard. I adore this in music, but also, you know, just, it could be the most simple song that has 2 chords, but you can, if someone's just genuinely, you know, bleeding from their souls, like you can hear that, and I really love that too. Like an artist like Angel Olsen, where it's like, might not be the most complex stuff, but there's something really powerful in that as well. So yeah, I love sounds that I haven't heard before. Like I really love like gamelan orchestras, 'cause it's just like chaos and these like metal sounds, but it's like all atonal, and my brain really struggles to understand it, and I love that. you know.
Yeah, because because I read that you listen to a lot of Saharan music.
Yeah.
So
that's my
is that
shit.
kind of why you seek those types of music out, because they're a little bit different than to what we are kind of flooded with every day?
Yeah. I mean, it also, sometimes I don't even really have to search for it, you know, like it just finds you at a certain time, you know. And the cool thing about an artist is we want to share the things that we love, you know, and I think I prefer to share what I love than to promote what I don't love, you know, or what I hate. And yeah, I just have a natural curiosity in the world, and I get excited when I learn something new, as opposed to like we're trained to be afraid of what is new and what we don't understand quite often, you know. Whereas I think the reason that is because there's a lot of power in that, and you know, it can be liberating, and it's harder to control liberated people.
On that note,
Without getting too political.
Naomi, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
You too.